Let me start today by asking you to don on your imagination hats. Let's take a trip together. A trip in time, maybe 12, 13,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, glaciers are receding, greenery is sprouting. You look around you, there's herds of deer, there's flocks of birds, there's rabbits, there's fruits, there's nuts, there's vegetables, there's flowers. It's springtime, it's time of plenty. There's abundance around. And what do people do in times of abundance? Sex. Obviously, they have sex. They reproduce. They procreate. They increase. Population start increasing. This goes on for 100, 200 years. And then all of a sudden, men have to roam really wider in order to get their prey. Women have to look much longer to find the nuts and the berries that they pick. Food starts getting scarce. And then some bright spark somewhere decides that if I put some seeds in the ground during the rainy season, I'm going to get food year-round. And agriculture is born. Now there's food again. There's plenty again. And what do we do in times of plenty? We have sex. There you go. We reproduce. We increase. Time goes on, 100 years, 200 years. The climate changes a little bit. Rain patterns change. All of a sudden, we don't have enough water for our agriculture. Another bright spark decides, if I take some water from the lake and put it on my seeds, I'm going to get agriculture. Irrigation is born. More irrigation, more food, more sex, more recreation, reproduction, and it goes on and on. And every time we start getting a little limited, somebody invents or discovers something. Fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, mechanization, GMOs. Every time we start getting a little food limited, somebody comes up with a method to stave off worldwide famines. We're still eating, we're growing, we're still here, we get enough food. Well, today, there's about 7.2 billion of us on this planet. In the next 40 years, there's going to be 9.2 billion of us on this planet. 2 billion more people in 40 years. Now, how are we going to feed these guys? If we try to use the traditional agricultural methods that we use today, we just don't have enough water. There isn't enough water using our traditional methods. Today, if you try to plant a kilo of wheat, you need 600 to 700 kilos of water. Every time you go buy a bag of bread and bring it home, you're bringing home with you 700 kilograms of fresh water. If you actually eat a kilo of beef at home, it takes 13,000 kilograms of water to grow that kilogram of beef. So you go to the butchers, you come back home with a kilo of beef, you've brought home with you 13 tons of water. It is just not sustainable. The earth today has as much fresh water as it had when the dinosaurs roamed this planet 80, 90 million years ago. We have not changed the amount of fresh water we have. All the fresh water in the world available for us to use, to drink, to bathe, to wash our car, and for agriculture, is 0.014% of the water on the planet. And yet there's going to be 9 billion of us. We just do not have enough water to stave off famine if we keep on using the same methodology we have been using for the past 10,000 years. It is time for a change. And this is where I come in. Me, Thank you. My research is about how to find a way for the next 2 billion people to eat using the freshwater resources that we have today. And there, in my opinion, are two main ways of doing that. The first way is not to use fresh water to grow food. Why not use salt water to grow food? Why not use the ocean? Let's grow food in the ocean. It's salt water. We cannot use it for irrigation. We cannot use it for agriculture, but we can grow food in it. And a lot of people do just that. You know, there is aquaculture, the growing of fish in the ocean. But there is a problem with that. All the fish grown in the ocean today are carnivorous fish. They eat high on the food chain. That would be like a traditional land farmer growing lions or crocodiles for us to eat. You'd need 1,000 rabbits to grow a 100-kilo lion, out of which we eat 30 kilos of meat. Any smart person would tell you, let's eat the 1,000 rabbits. We cannot eat the lion. It's just not sustainable. Well, this is what I do. I actually found a herbivorous fish, you know, the rabbit of the sea, the rabbitfish, and this is actually called a rabbitfish. And the rabbitfish is herbivorous. It eats really low on the food chain. And for the past 9 years, what I've been doing is trying to develop the techniques we need to actually farm this fish, from its environmental tolerances, salinity, temperature, diseases, bacteria, toxicology, how much protein it needs to eat, how many lipids, what the nutrition is. And we actually are about ready to start farming it. So this year, I actually partnered with a friend of mine, a colleague of mine in Cyprus, George Anastasiadis. He's a scientist in Cyprus, and he has convinced a fish farmer to actually try growing the rabbitfish on a commercial scale. If it works out, this year we'll be ready to start teaching people how to grow rabbitfish. Now, there will always be a place for the grouper and the salmon and the sea bass and the sea bream that you guys pay a lot of money for. These are really good fish, but they're expensive and they're not sustainable. If we are going to feed 2 billion people, we need a herbivorous fish, the rabbitfish. Now, that was my first way. But there still are a lot of people that don't live next to the ocean. They don't want to work with the ocean. They hate the ocean. They don't like waves. Then what do these people do? What do all the traditional agriculturers do? We have to take care of these people. They have to help. Well, the way to do it is to just produce more crop per drop. Every drop of water should now produce more than the bag of bread that you take and bring home with you. That is just not feasible, not sustainable. So I've been working for the past 5 years at the American University farm in the Bekaa to do just that. Traditionally, farmers will pump water out of the ground and use the 700 kilograms to irrigate and produce 1 kilogram of wheat. Well, my idea was, why don't we take this out of the ground and put it in tanks? Grow fish in the tanks, and then use the water for irrigation. So a traditional farm would look something like this, and these guys are growing wheat. Well, I say these guys, that's me, growing wheat over there. What I did is, I actually put some tanks and grew some fish in those tanks, and then used the water from the tanks to irrigate the wheat. Now, with the same drop of water, I got the same quantity of corn, but I also got 20 kilograms of fish per tank. And I had, you know. Now, this is more crop per drop. We've tried this with radishes, with tomatoes, with beans, and last year with corn, and it works very well. But we cannot stop here. We actually have to produce even more crops using the same drop of water. So, at the beginning of this year, we devised a new system. We went to a dairy farm in the Bekaa, and dairy farms need water every day to wash the manure from under their cows. They need to wash that manure, and that is wasted, precious water. So what we did is, we gathered this water from the cows, and we put it in tanks and used it to produce methane. And the methane can be burned for heat, the methane can be used to produce electricity, the methane can be actually used in your kitchen to cook. It's a gas. We produced methane with this water that was being dumped as pollution into our rivers. Once the methane was produced, we took this water and we produced duckweed in it. Duckweed is a small aquatic grass that is very high in protein, and it's a very good nutrient for chickens and other animals. Duckweed also cleans the water it grows in. So now we produce duckweed, we fed our chickens, and our water was clean. We took this clean water and we produced fish in it. And then we took the fish water and produced vegetables. We irrigated. Now with the same drop of water, we have cleaned the cows, we have produced energy, we have produced duckweed, we've produced fish, and we have irrigated. Now we are feeding 2 billion people in the next 40 years. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, but I still need a minute of your time. This is what I do, but I need your help. It is your social and ethical duty to help me save this water. For the past 10,000 years, we've been using water as if it belonged to everybody and there were interminable supplies of this water. But no, the water is limited, and the more of us there is, the less water per person there is. So we need to start saving. If each and every one of you saves 1 liter a day in here, that's 1,000 liters a day. It's easy to save a liter a day. Just turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth. Just don't wash your car once a week. Wash it once every 10 days. On average, that's 1 liter a day. Why should you do that? Very easily. With this liter a day, I can produce 20 kilos of fish, 2 bags of bread, and have much less pollution. If every Lebanese does it, that's 4 million liters a day. We can feed the people. It is our social responsibility. May you all always have a lot of water and a lot of food. Thank you.